Couch Potatoes Unite is sponsored today by Heritage Theater Group. Based in Grand Rapids, Michigan, HTG is presenting 3 wonderful works this summer that put history on stage. Running July 12th through 21st is Anton Chekhov's The Cherry Orchard, followed by Fool for Love by Sam Shepard, which runs July 28th through August 4th. Their season closes with Assassins by Stephen Sondheim and John Weidman, running August 9 through 18. Heritage Theater Group performs Thursday through Saturday at the Spectrum Theater at GRCC. For tickets and more information, visit heritagetheatergr.org. That's Heritage, THEATREGR.org. Or give us a call at 616-951-4842. We hope to see you at the theater.
Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! Which is based on a blog of the same name because we unite as couch potatoes to defend our TV. Like the Defenders defend their city. I got nothing for this one. Jessica Jones is not really known for its comedy, so I don't have a joke. My name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out our website, couchpotatousunite.wordpress.com, as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For at Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU is upon our summer season and hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays, as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays, and as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows around the water cooler, including, but not limited to, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, The Vampire Diaries, Orange is the New Black, The Good Place, Grace and Frankie, Fuller House, Game of Thrones, Broadchurch, Stranger Things, iZombie, and American Horror Story. Plus, new episodes are in the works, including revisits for Doctor Who, a series of unfortunate events, The X-Files, Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., New Girl, The Originals, Supernatural, Gotham, Once Upon a Time, 13 Reasons Why, and the DCTU panel will revisit all 4 shows in the CW's Arrowverse. We'll be launching new panels covering Sense8, The Crown, Will and Grace, Westworld, and Arrested Development. We'll be launching a new feature called Versus, where we'll be comparing shows in a spicy debate. And because we look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at one of our most popularly requested panels of all time, which is Friends, and I promise you, it is on the way. By the way, did you know that CPU, also from time to time, goes live? We've been live from the Bunker, comedy outlet Mondays at Dog Story Theater in Grand Rapids Comic-Con, and we're planning more live appearances and other cool stuff. So make sure you like or follow us at our Facebook page, our Twitter at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear a show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews, and we always seek new panelists, so if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets I've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback, even the Jessica-like snarky kind. I mean, have you met us? Today, we're around the water cooler as a continuation of our Marvel's Defenders podcast series. This series does not have a fixed number of episodes like other series we do. The bird agrees. Rather, it's ongoing.
Nice try.
Rather, it's ongoing, given the fact that streaming service Netflix created various series with the aim of combining all of the protagonists into a crossover miniseries called The Defenders. With that said, welcome to the 8th episode of our Marvel's Defenders panel, in which we discuss the 2nd season of the 2nd series of this first Netflix arm of the Marvel Universe. In this series, we've already discussed seasons 1 and 2 of Daredevil, and the first seasons of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders, and The Punisher. Today we're discussing Season 2 of Jessica Jones, which was released in its entirety to the Netflix streaming library on March 8, 2018 with a total of 13 episodes, which means, for the record, that the show is legally available to Netflix subscribers exclusively as it is Netflix-produced original content. As a reminder to the listener, Marvel Jessica Jones, or simply Jessica Jones, is an American web television series created for Netflix by Melissa Rosenberg and based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name. It is set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, sharing continuity with the films of the franchise, and is the second in a series of shows that led to the Defenders crossover miniseries. The series is produced by Marvel Television in association with ABC Studios and Tall Girls Productions, with Rosenberg serving as showrunner. Kristen Ritter stars as Jessica Jones, a former superhero who opens her own detective agency. Rachel Taylor, Ika Darville, and Carrie-Anne Moss also star, with J.R. Ramirez, Terry Chen, Leah Gibson, and Janet McTeer joining for the second season. Following the tragic end of her brief superhero career, Jessica Jones tries to rebuild her life as a private investigator, dealing with cases involving people with remarkable abilities in New York City. After her encounter with Kilgrave, played by David Tennant, Jones begins to put her life back together, taking on a new case that makes her reluctantly confront her past and who she really is. Today, in the 8th episode of our Marvel's Defenders series, we'll be focusing specifically upon Jessica Jones Season 2 with our Defenders panel, all of whom should be familiar to anyone who's listened to previous chapters in this series, namely Kristen, Nick, Kyle, Hilary, and Spencer. Because I think we're ready to crack open a bottle of whiskey and get our hands dirty with this sucker, I want to remind listeners that all of our panelists have viewed all seasons of all Defenders solo series and the crossover miniseries to date, and may discuss sensitive plot points from any or all of them. So for those of you who have not watched Jessica Jones or any of the Defenders properties, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you?
Pretty good.
You sure?
Horny Red Winged Blackbird outside. Everyone's wonderful.
Yes. We are on a lovely 3 Seasons porch recording this right now, and it's gorgeous, but the bird wants to participate too, so we'll just have to deal with that.
We're popular.
We are popular. I mean, it's true. And actually, funnily enough, though you may have been listening to our series, I don't know if you realize this, but it's been 2 years since we last talked about Jessica Jones.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
That's
2
crazy.
years. So, as a result, because everybody's back to talk about the second season, I have now tweaked the standard CPU character question, which changes with each show we do. And of course, as we get back into it, we're going to tell everyone who you are and how you are interested in the show nowadays. Are you ready?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Jessica Jones Season 2, did you watch it? Because though it be strong to say that you love it, as that is not who you are, you feel compelled to help people with the abilities you have, and or to watch people with abilities like yours. Even if you are slightly cynical, even misanthropic about the show or life, like Jessica Jones. Did you watch it because your best friend and or adopted sister watches it, and you want to support her endeavors and make sure she doesn't do anything rash? Also, you want to be just like and or are jealous of Jessica, as it turns out, like Trish Walker. Do you watch it because you're obsessed with Jessica Jones, the main character that is, including her backstory or origin story, and what she's been doing with her life since she was a child? You do not care too much for the rest of the people in her life, and or do not trust the creators to do right by the character, at least not since you've re-entered the picture, like Elisa Jones. Do you watch it because it gives you a new perspective on life and makes you want to clean up your act? You can also learn a lot from Jessica's mad sleuthing skills, like Malcolm Ducasse. Did you watch it because you're secretly or not so secretly into Jessica and her whole hard on the outside, soft and squishy on the inside personal manner, like Oscar Orocho? Did you watch it because you're a woman in a man's world and you want it all? Plus, Jessica gets under your skin. Plus, you found religion watching this series, as doing so might give you a new lease on life, or so you believe, like Jerry Hogarth. Did you watch it only because you feel it's solid competition for some of the other Netflix Marvel properties, or Private Eyes, which you like better, and or because you are required to do so by your podcast producer, like Price Chang? Did you watch it because you have nothing better to do, and or because you want tips on how to con easy marks, like Inez Green, or, and they're not going to answer this, but because these guys were important last time I included this option, you don't watch it because you are either A, off trying to be a superhero yourself, released on June 22nd, like Luke Cage, or B, merely a figment of someone's traumatized imagination, like Kilgrave. But is he, though? Who would like to start? Blackbird, what do you think? I see.
He's just late to reply.
Yeah.
You have to think about it. I mean, he's really confused.
I get it.
There's nothing to be confused about, guys.
Yes. There's a lot.
You gotta answer the character question first.
I don't know if I can, though.
Oh, I can.
Nick, are you going?
I guess, sure.
Who are you?
I'm Nick.
Okay, good. So your price?
I think so.
Because
I don't know.
I required you to watch it. It feels like solid competition for some of the other Netflix Marvel properties, which you like better because you're required to do so by your podcast producer.
I felt like I was required to finish it this season.
Well, yeah, that is true.
But I was really excited to start watching it. But
you can answer more than one, but that goes against your principles.
It does.
Join the dark side, man.
No, I'll stick with what I said.
So Nick is Price.
Sure.
I mean, last time you were Malcolm because you were high on Netflix.
It was so good. And so was Daredevil.
I'll split mine.
Welcome back, Nick.
Thanks.
And you are?
I'm Spencer.
Hi, Spencer.
And I went into the season with high expectations and excitement because of how good season 1 was. I'm not quite sure who that matches up with in the list. And then I finished on Price because it was just such a struggle to get through. It was such a struggle for me.
Wait, what was Price again? I missed it.
Required by podcast producer and solid competition for the other Netflix Marvel properties or Private Eyes.
I'm just going to copy what Spencer said.
Welcome back, Spencer.
Thank you.
Spencer, last time you were a little bit of Jessica and a little bit of, I'm trying to say Kilgore, but it was
Kilgrave, yeah.
Yes.
Kilgore's a DC property. What can you do?
We can talk about him when we talk about The Flash.
That's true.
Hi, I'm Hilary.
Hi, Hilary.
And the moderator is my sister,
That's
and
true.
Kyle will talk in a minute, and he's the hubby.
Philip did that too.
Yeah, I know. I failed on that for a couple times. I don't know why. But I'm back on track. Anyway, with that being said, I'm copying Spencer's answer because I was really excited to watch the second season of Jessica Jones, but I do not feel that it was strong in a lot of many ways, which we will discuss.
Last time you were Luke Cage.
Which was the Defenders, right?
No. Last time you were for Jessica Jones.
I don't remember what the description was.
Because you love Jessica, the character, so much.
And that was true.
Can I put an asterisk? I still love Jessica Jones as the character.
But everything else around her is not good.
So
bingo.
So you're more like Elisa. You might be obsessed is a strong word, but you like the main character, but you don't care much for the rest.
That's probably closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also, But I also.
You want to change your answer to Elisa?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Like, I loved her, but she had growth, and then she relapsed on the growth. Are you going to say that? Oh, sorry. Go, hubby.
I'm Kyle.
You were looking so sheepish, and she was talking like if you interrupted, she was going to backhand you. Do we need to switch this? Oh,
Hilary is Jessica Jones.
I was going to piggyback on that because I really love Jessica Jones and I love her place in the world, but this season is just so flawed that it lost me.
Yep.
We're all piggybacking off each other except
Kyle, last time you were Jessica Jones, so that was a little bit of a tumble. Are you saying you're Elisa then?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
3 Elisas.
And a Price.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
And I'm the only one who actually liked this season.
Apparently.
question mark.
Let her say!
I really liked this season. I thought it was solid. That'll make me, Elisa or Alyssa? I thought it was, is it Alyssa?
I don't know.
Whatever. So I'm Alyssa, Lisa. I did find some of the B storylines kind of stupid, but I still really liked this season. I thought it was pretty solid. So I'm just choosing one.
Okay.
I really like Jessica Jones.
I thought it was pretty solid too. Then I flushed it and it all got better.
Spencer, wait!
Wow!
I have to interject where it's appropriate.
Well, first, welcome back to Kristen. And last time you were a bit of Jerry and a bit of Luke Cage, but you also made sure to mention your copious amount of love for David Tennant.
David Tennant.
Well,
I love you so much.
Why didn't we all do that? That's normally our staple.
It was, but she answered quickly last time.
I did. I love David Tennant, and I was so happy when Kilgrave made a little appearance at the end. I thought it was pretty cool. Yay, made my heart happy because David Tennant makes me happy.
That was like the only good episode.
That was actually one of my favorite episodes of the season.
Okay. So
I know, jumping ahead. Thanks. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Welcome back to everybody. And of course, my name is Kylie. Last time I was Jessica. I do still enjoy the Jessica character. I'm waffling myself between Elisa or Alyssa and Price. I required myself to watch it. I don't know if I hated it as much as the people who are not super liking it, but I definitely am not in Kristen's place either. There was a lot of flaws this season. Flawed was a good description for it. It was really tough to get through. Maybe not as tough as Luke Cage season 1. We'll get to our comparative ranking question at the end. But it was really, really difficult. And normally I'm all about a lot of the stuff that they do on these series, but the writers really just confused my brain on this season. So we'll talk about that. Welcome back to the panel. This is, of course, we're back around the water cooler. We've already talked about Jessica Jones once. We've gone through all of the series at least once, so we don't have to retread that kind of stuff. So let's talk about this season. Now, of course, I always say, what did you like? What didn't you like? Maybe you should let Kristen go first.
Yes.
I don't know. She might get ganged. Okay, go ahead.
I
Do you want to finish that little sentence there, though? Because people are now putting all kinds of things behind the word gang that
They can do that. Continue.
No,
I am a PG podcast, Spencer.
I kept it PG. Well, your mind wasn't. That's not my fault.
He didn't say any words.
For the record, I came into this podcast today knowing that I was going to get the crap kicked out of me for liking this season when everybody else was not going to. I am fully aware of what I'm about to embark on. That being said, I really liked this season. Gosh darn it. Was it as strong as season 1? No. But it was still really solid. I loved exploring the relationship that Jessica had with her mom. I thought that really added a strong element throughout the series, and it really helped kind of give her backstory a little bit more. We finally got more of these, again, I don't read the comic books. This is all new to me. So I got more of Jessica's backstory, how everything came to be. Loved it.
But here's why I disagree with that.
Go for it.
He put his
Because
weight on everything.
you started with such a high benchmark on the show,
Which we all knew was like...
which was fantastic. Season 1 of
Yes.
this show I have no complaints about. You didn't even stay on a plane that, a level plane. It crashed. It crashed so hard in comparison to season 1. The level of the storytelling, the character interactions, the plot points, it was so disjointed. It felt like an extension of the Luke Cage season 1 to me, in just how poorly they told the story.
It's like every character making stupid decisions.
Oh,
Even
a
in
ton of them were.
flashbacks.
There were just so many,
Yeah.
but there
I
were
will
so
agree
many
with that.
backward steps from just based on what season 1 was. So you go in with this expectation after seeing such a great first season, you expect them to build off that. And it's almost like they prequeled with season 2 and gave you all that backstory that at this point was bad timing.
It wasn't even good backstory. None of that's from the comics. The writers just went off and did their own thing. Her mom died in the car accident in the comics. That lab didn't exist in the comics. Well, it did, but for Nuke, not for Jessica.
Right. And I believe I said at the end of season 1, their biggest problem was going to be the fact that they killed off Kilgrave.
Yeah.
By doing so, they left themselves...
And
They
Nowhere
wrote themselves into a
and
corner.
Yeah.
the other villain that they spent all of season 1 building up, Simpson or Nuke, they
He was
killed off
dispatched
so
so
quickly
quickly.
and
That was
unceremoniously. I mean, it pretty much lost me right at that episode.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, even though there was a lack of a villain, this was something I had a big problem with in Luke Cage, that there was no clear villain throughout his series. In this one, it didn't bother me. I agree Nuke was wasted. They really should have kept him along. I agree that they wrote themselves into a corner when they killed off Kilgrave at the end of season 1. But there was so much else for me in the story thematically that I really liked that I didn't care that there wasn't a big villain, which is weird.
I think Trish was the big villain.
She was. She was
Trish
so
was my
good.
favourite part of the season.
Of this season?
Yeah.
She was my
I did
least
not like
favorite.
She was
part.
my least favorite.
I love
It just seems like
Malcolm.
every decision she made was the absolute wrong decision.
She
was.
is such
She was-
a big pain in the rear.
She was
I think the
sympathetic
concept of
character.
what they had her going through was my favourite part of the season. Not the way it actually came out on the screen, but the idea of...
Yeah, I think the way they implemented it just made her seem so petty and...
So
and they built her up as such a good companion in season 1.
Yeah.
She was very selfish.
She was already selfish
she
in
was-
season 1, and
yeah.
there were glimpses of her being a halfway decent human being in the first one. But now it's gone off the rails.
She's
Like,
so
he's already
jealous
said-
of Jessica,
Yeah.
too.
They spend so much time contrasting
And her
her with
drug
her
addiction.
stage
Yeah.
mom and everything else, but then she ends up being worse.
Yeah.
Oh,
than
so
the
much
mother.
worse.
And no offense to the actress, she's doing a really good job.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's a
not her.
terrible story, just so bad.
I
And
was
she-
hoping for season 2 to actually be at least end or close before the end, her becoming Hellcat.
Well, I think that's where they're going.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
that's
I'm
how
not
I- the last
surprised.
scene.
Yeah,
But-
I'm not surprised that they waited until the last scene to show just a
I
glimpse.
just didn't like how they were getting there.
Yeah,
No.
Well, it's like
She's
she made so
not
many,
a
she
hero.
made
Yeah,
so
but
many
it's a
unlikable
superhero.
decisions to get there that now I'm never.
I don't
gonna
wanna
root
like
for
her.
as a
It's like,
superhero.
yeah, you're supposed to think of her as a hero. No, thank you. I mean, yeah, other people go through trials and tribulations, but not nearly as obnoxiously. Holy crap.
and
Yeah.
at the expense of others. That's,
Yes.
It makes her seem like a
Selfish.
villain, like Kylie
Well, that's why it's
said.
like I did like when they paired her with Malcolm at first when she seemed like she actually liked him, but then you see
She
how
was using
quickly
him.
she's just using
She
him.
already saw how everything went with Simpson with using the drugs, and then here she what does she do? She turns around right away because she feels like
she's
she has to
desperate for
compete.
power.
Get over it, lady. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Desperate for power because she's on a freaking radio show. I mean, that's even worse as kind of
Well,
a
it's because she wants to be a hard-hitting journalist, like the fiance that she dumped, whatever his name was.
Although I did really love her really crappy music video they kept showing.
Oh, I want your cray cray.
Yeah.
That was my favorite episode. Excuse the title, but I don't know. I really liked that episode.
Didn't you feel like that Trish's boyfriend at some point was going to become the big bad?
Yeah.
And nothing.
Yeah.
And it was
really
the
happened with him?
surprise engagement party is
I
what he
think
was
he's
doing
a
the
very
whole time.
patient human
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was gonna like scoop her story on IGH or be a supervillain or something.
I felt like they were taking him down a very similar path to, was it Jigsaw in
Punisher?
Punisher?
Yeah.
I felt like that was a similar path. I'm like, okay, that could be
That's kind of what
interesting.
I was waiting for a plot twist.
And then nothing happened with him. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, he was basically superfluous.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of eye candy. Oscar being the other one, and
Yeah.
call it good, I guess.
Although I did like that guy, like his interactions with Jessica, like he
Oscar?
just completely understood her, no questions asked.
There was definitely a contrast they were trying to go for between, say, Luke Cage and Oscar, who actually challenged her in ways, challenged her on more of a emotional, sort of being a decent human being kind of level. But at the same time, I felt he was so flat. I didn't. The Oscar stuff just seemed extraneous and forced. That's
Like
it.
another plot device just to add in
Yeah.
so she can have some sort of character development, but she really
And a
didn't.
love interest.
Yeah.
But and the love interest, which I don't think she needs to have. Let her have some of her own development. And then
Right.
you can add that in later. People always think that there needs to be that, but I don't feel
Well, I
like
mean, I
that's-
just think they should have
unnecessary.
played off of her unresolved feelings with Luke, especially after just seeing him in Defenders. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't get any of that in Defenders, and I thought maybe there'd be some bleed over, and it's
It
like it
didn't
didn't
even
happen.
feel like it came out of Defenders.
No.
It didn't even feel
No.
like it continued
There
out of
was
those
no flow
storylines.
Yeah.
Well, and like in Defenders, they had the whole built up. Her storyline was her taking cases again, but
Yeah.
then it starts back off in Jessica Jones, and she's not taking cases, and she's in that same place. So yeah, it didn't feel like Defenders added anything to
There's
it.
only one throwaway mention to not only her exploits with Kilgrave in the first season, but also the people in it. I don't know if they say something about Hell's Kitchen, but it's like a very veiled reference to the Defenders. And it was so quick. And it was
Yeah.
the first episode.
And there was one reference from Vito for Captain America, asking if she had a shield or something. But
Yes.
yeah, I think you're right. I feel like it could have been before the Defenders, really.
It could have been before season 1 of Jessica Jones, the way in which they did it.
That's very true.
Without the Kilgrave flashbacks, of course.
Yeah,
So let's talk about the Kilgrave flashback.
loved them.
Their interactions are just
They're
the highlight
so
of
good.
the
They're
show.
so good together.
But it was so wasted.
It was
Yeah.
wasted.
Yeah.
I'm right there. I mean, yes, they put that in the show for the
She's
fans.
mad.
Well,
I
and
am
they-
mad. I love David Tennant too, and every glimpse of him I can get, I'm all right with.
Well, I think when
but
they
shoot.
I think when they wrote season 1, they got to the end of it, they finished their table reads, they high-fived each other, said, we've got gold. Then the show came out, everyone loved it, and then they killed Kilgrave, and everybody went, well, now what are we
Now
going
what?
to do?
do. Because it goes back, this is exactly what I've kind of been saying all along. I'm going to toss it out there right now. This is why I haven't glommed on quite as readily as the rest of you. Because it's like, without David Tennant, what are we going to have?
Well, I thought he would come back. And I think that's why the flashbacks weren't as good to me, is because I thought,
and that's still
maybe
a possibility,
he somehow survived.
I mean, that's still a possibility,
It's a possibility.
but they decided to go a different route and go really heavy into the backstory. But I personally felt that all the things that were supposed to be plot twists were super predictable. We called it like right away. It's gonna be her mom, and the things that
the very first
we
trailer,
thought would be
I said,
a plot
okay,
twist.
the very first trailer, I said to Hilary, I was like, okay, whoever it is, killing people is somebody in her family. I thought either her little brother or her mom or her dad. So I called that right away. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then the things that we thought were going to be plot twists ended up being just completely flat. It was nothing, ultimately. Like, you were reading more into it than what was actually there. Like,
with the boyfriend.
Trisha's fiance. Yeah. So it was just such a big letdown.
And some of the episodes felt like filler.
Yeah,
like
they
this
were.
season feels like a filler.
It didn't feel like it
to get to whatever they're planning for season 5.
I had such a thirst for a villain in this, and even the villains weren't villains.
Yeah.
You know, the mother, she was a villain, but
But she was not a villain of her own making.
Right.
And she did it out of love for Jessica. The whole time
everything
she just
was out
wanted
of
to
love.
be with Jessica.
I get that, but she was super annoying.
She was.
She was really annoying.
I'm like, I had no emotional attachment to her whatsoever. I got what they were going with it, and, yay for Jessica, but I had it was really hard for me to connect with her.
Well, the mother doing things that then put Jessica in peril went against the storyline.
Right.
Like killing the people in the back of the van, for example.
Yeah.
Right.
It was contradicting everything she was goal-driven towards. Now, I realised she didn't have control over a lot of what she was doing, but it was still against her driving force.
Right.
And it just...
But the writers had control, and that's what they chose to do.
Yeah.
Right.
I started to feel more connected to her mom when they were in the RV and they were saving the family from the explosion, the truck that had tipped over and that was on fire. I'm like, okay, well, now she's being a little more self-sacrificing. She's going to go save the people she wants to do good. Oh no, are they going to kill her right here?
The trouble with that episode for me and that particular set of scenes is it felt more like they'd watched the episodes they'd filmed to that point and realised they were screwing up the mother's character and they tried too hard to give her a redemption line.
Well, and the complicating factor for the mother character was that they also set her up to be in love with Malice, the doctor that was doing the experiments, who is out of the comics, by the way. But
name only, really.
name only, not the same.
I did not like his hippie shtick.
No, that was weird.
Like, I get they're trying to go against the grain of evil scientists, but...
It would have been better as an evil scientist.
Yeah.
At least it did something to galvanize everybody else around, basically, which they didn't have. So then... then it's hard to sympathize with the mother, it's hard to sympathize with Trish, and then somehow they get pitted against the other one. So then you're like, I don't know who to cheer for, they're all screwing over Jessica. It's really unhappy storytelling. So,
I mean, that is part of Jessica's character, is everything around her is pretty miserable. I get that.
Yeah.
I just felt it was just so much of a letdown after season 1.
And like they established essentially that the experiments pretty much caused their anger, Jessica's and her mom's. But really, I mean, it in the comics and even in first scene, her anger is from Kilgrave.
Right.
Like that's the source of her issues. When
So
you just
they're
all of a sudden
already
write it off as, it's these experiments did that to her.
Well, and it's all undercutting the impact of season 1 that way.
That was my thought. I was undercutting what she went through with Kilgrave and the issues she was still working through. When you just say, it's biological.
Right.
Now, I don't know the comic books. Did Kilgrave get killed off in the comic books?
He comes back. Yeah, she beats him to death and he comes back.
Well, they should have done that in season 2, but I do have a feeling that it may have been conflicts with David's schedule that put this in place.
Yeah, because he's been filming Good Omens and a couple other series and
he's
stuff
the voice of
Scrooge
McDuck.
Well, I think he only filmed for
awesome.
a day too. Like they had to get that entire episode with him in like a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
His scenes were fun to watch, but they felt like they were just rammed into.
Agreed.
It was probably it could have been one of those things like we don't know if we're going to get him. If we do, here's a plan.
Yeah.
And but I'm happy that he came back, even if it was just for a day, to film something. I think the series is stronger with him in it than it is without it.
But I would have just rather them have waited to do.
Yeah.
I agree.
For like a big reveal and.
Yeah, because everything we said about the mom already. If that happened sooner and a couple episodes earlier, and it built towards like a different main villain or Kilgrave, more of Kilgrave.
The one thing they
Could've
did
been
well
better.
with him in it was that they made it feel like you fully felt he was a figment of her imagination, rather than he wasn't being him the way he was in season 1. He was being him the way that she was imagining him as a nagging thing in her conscience,
Yeah.
which I thought that was okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was okay.
They did well with that, but that's
And it was
about
also
the best thing I
amazing
can
for
say
David
about it.
Tennant to show that he is part of Jessica's subconscious, not the carbon copy Kilgrave, but
Yeah,
the twist
there was,
on
a,
it.
there was a nice little nuance to his performance there that made him the best thing in the season.
Come back.
What did we think about Jerry's storyline?
Ugh, boo.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought that was kind of fun.
Really?
I enjoyed seeing her get taken like that.
Okay.
I thought it had elements to that story that I've seen in other things in life. Andy Kaufman's story, for example, you get that, there's this cure, you become singularly focused on the cure and then realize it's just a big scam. Mm-hmm. It worked with her character, but it was one of the more interesting storylines in the season.
I wanted to be interested in it.
That's where
That's the one low point for me was Jerry's storyline this season.
Because it was...
It completely flipped.
I know. Well, because aside from the connection through Malcolm, really,
Who was awesome, by the way.
Malcolm ended up being my favorite character as well
Same.
this
Yeah.
season. And that's just because
he's the only person with some sort of redeemable quality.
Well, that's part of
Yeah.
it. But he's also the only character that really interacted with all the other characters and actually provided some sort of connection for what was going on in these
That's true.
13
You know what?
episodes.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about
he's
that.
had full character growth.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So the Jerry storyline, yes, it was interesting. The potential was interesting. You have this very strong, almost to a fault, unchinkable armor woman in a high-powered law firm, all this other stuff that goes along with her, to have this sort of weakness attached to her, but at the same time, they're
But that's
gonna-
this whole season is
I
everything
know.
you can talk about in this whole season ends up with a
And the only reason we got this story is because she asked Jessica to be a private eye and get some dirt on her partners, and then Jessica got distracted. Boom, there was the story. I just thought, wow, yeah. Carrie Ann Moss, wasted. So
it's like I liked her better in her little episodes of Iron Fist.
Yes,
she was more
I agree,
likable
yeah.
in her actions with Danny Rand.
agreed.
Yeah, there's a lot of references to Rand in this season.
And we got a brief cameo of Foggy in the beginning, didn't we?
I don't know. I never remember Foggy.
I don't remember seeing him.
I think he came in to basically tell her that she was in trouble with the firm. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was
Yes.
it.
Oh, he said he had her back and he pretty much told him to butter off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
like she
get out of
said,
the butt
like
or
yeah,
something.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think he said, is there anything I can do to help you? And she was like, I don't need your help, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something
like
along
that.
those lines.
I wish there was more of a character connection, because I know that they're planning to do that more with like Luke Cage and Danny Rand. At least that's what
The rumor
we
is.
speculated. But I
The
just
previews look promising for Luke Cage. Has anyone
The reviews
watched
are
it?
not sterling,
Well,
which is surprising because they were so high for the first season.
that means we'll probably like
We'll
it.
probably
Yeah.
like it.
I don't know.
That's just been the trend.
No, seriously.
I just wish there was more of a connection. I wish they had added, because if they go into being defenders again and then go back to just being separate all the time, it's kind of lame a little bit. I just wish they were building it a little bit better.
Well,
So do I. I mean, her and Luke Cage are like Lois and Clark. Like, it should always be building towards that. And when you just completely scrub him clean, it feels like she's missing a key piece of her puzzle.
It's part of her character, like plain and simple. And I'm sure they'll get there, but they're doing it really slowly and poorly.
Especially since he was such a major part of the first
Yeah,
season.
he was.
Yeah.
I think if they
it
hadn't
was
have
so
done
well
that,
done in the first season.
yeah, it would have been a little bit different. But that's not what they.
When you said really slowly, that was also another problem with the season. Is the pacing of the episodes was very poor.
very slow.
Really slow. It felt
Consistently slow, but very
Yeah,
slow.
but like Luke Cage. Luke
Yeah.
Cage was the same way. It was.
I had
Well,
similar.
Luke Cage
slow
was slow,
pace.
slow, a little bit faster, but now slower.
Yeah.
Jessica
Yeah.
was slow, all 13 episodes.
Yep.
So,
It was
even
on
the
a
high
one straight
tension
drive
moments.
through Luxembourg.
I don't know. I normally don't like
They Thank you, listeners from Luxembourg.
I normally hate the slow pacing, but this one, it felt more like it was kind of going back to that, like, noir, like, 1940s kind of vibe to it, because she had some real noir style voiceovers, and I don't know.
Jessica Jones love blinders on.
There is an element.
Maybe there was a little bit of that, like, 1940. I don't know.
I get that, girlfriend. I'm just saying.
I can relate because I'm the same with Superman.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed every Superman property even when it's bad, so I get it.
But I would have liked more of like the detective, like 1940s feel, like see her taking a couple cases.
Yeah, that would have been nice to see her taking more cases.
Yeah, she didn't take any cases. What the heck?
I mean, she took them. She didn't investigate.
Like
right.
I mean, she's a detective.
I want to see her
really
doing
good at
detective
it. Exactly.
work. Yeah.
And I want to. One of the reasons that I'm disappointed at the end, I want to see her and Malcolm working together.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see him being a bit more confident detective than
like
her.
he wants, he wants to be
good
there
work.
and be part of it, and she's such a.
Wow, long pause to
I
get
was
to
trying
that
not to swear. That's hard for me. But
What about the competing detective?
I found him also very superfluous. It was really just to try to again
another thing
add
to,
sort of a B villain element.
It was supposed to be the conflict.
Yeah,
And it wasn't.
He felt so
cheesy.
she could squash him in a half second,
It was
and he's got no point.
It was
Nothing went together. Nothing had anything to do with anything. All of these storylines
Agreed.
between Hogarth, between the mom, this detective.
They threw a bunch of stuff in a blender and like this season's good.
I liked 3 episodes. I liked the episode where I'm very specific, I know, but I liked the episode where they specifically revealed that Leslie Hansen was her mom, but not the one following it. I liked the one where they flashed back and Trish was singing "I Want Your Cray Cray."
That was
the great.
good episode.
And
Well, that's what it was called.
I know,
which was fun.
know.
And I also liked, but relatively speaking, not because I actually agreed with the device, the David Tennant episode. That was it. I didn't like the rest of the season.
I didn't like the rest of the season either.
Those are my 3 favorites. I will say that out of all of them.
But you also
It was a struggle
said,
to get through it. I had a gap of 2 weeks in the middle where I didn't watch a single episode just because it wasn't
I mean, me
that
and Kyle
interesting.
just forced ourselves to kind of power through it, I think.
Yeah.
Did you
But I
drink
mean,
wine?
you knew by the 3rd episode.
Actually,
I think
I was starting to say this
gonna
when
be a rough
somebody
go.
brought up Luke Cage. I think it was him. I was literally starting to do the same slog face, like, okay, let's just watch this crap. Like, because I already knew it wasn't going to get any
it's
better.
almost like you were in shock because you're like, the first season was so good. The first season was so good.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Truth comes out.
Watching this show made me understand why Jessica Jones drinks.
That's why I said we were going to crack open our whiskey bottles and get dirty with this sucker.
Well, I'm drinking right now just to talk about it. So.
Water.
Gin and tonic.
That's gin and tonic. Oh, that explains the lime. I was like,
Lime
Spencer's
water.
all fancy. I know, right?
Oh, I caught on to that.
I'm just sad because I really had such high expectations for it. It really is maddening to see such a great first season basically put in a box and
then you have to wait a whole another year and be like, okay, well, I hope the next one's going to redeem
Right.
it.
right.
Is it another year or is it like another 2 years?
Well, the order right now is Luke Cage obviously just came out. Daredevil's still slated for the fall. Iron Fist is still slated for early winter.
Oh.
And then Punisher comes after that. So
Well,
I don't
I'm
know.
excited for Daredevil.
I'm excited for Daredevil and Punisher.
I'm kind of excited for Iron Fist a little.
Yeah, I like Iron Fist. I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they
I
just cast Bullseye for Daredevil, so now I'm like above the
Okay, I'm definitely a bit more excited.
Yeah.
See, here's the problem. We're all now already thinking about all the other properties because this was so...
We're like, move on.
drab.
Let's move on with life.
Well, and that's
I'm happy to hang out in Jessica Jones land a little while longer. Thank you. I like
Kristen's
her.
like the ship.
I know.
Like the last.
I am. I'm gonna go down with the ship.
You're defending Jessica Jones season 2, but you didn't like Daredevil.
Again,
Daredevil season 1.
because of
You need to
which
make
we
little
have
audio clips of
established,
that.
I watched it out of order. I
Is that really the
understand.
case? Did Did you ever go back and watch it?
No, because I can't go back and watch it in order.
Yes,
There's honey, I've got too many other TV shows to watch for this podcast.
I just want to register that 2 years ago you were giving her the same crap.
I just
every
don't
time.
understand.
Actually, you should probably put that in your
Disclaimer.
I'm the moderator's sister. This is my husband Kyle, and
Kristen is
Kristen
didn't
watched
watch
Showtime
Daredevil.
Order.
only the one time.
Will you ever do that again?
No, I will never. Disclaimer: last night, in preparation for the DCTU podcast series that we'll be revisiting here soon, I sent out a list of the watching order of the episodes. So there you go.
Well done.
She is proving herself.
Yes. So no, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the reason I like Jessica Jones, like this season, I do like it. Again, not as much as season 1, but I still like it. I think it's solid. But it feels like it's a different kind of show to me. It doesn't feel like it's Daredevil or
Where is
Luke
the
Cage.
solid adjective coming from?
I don't know.
Is it just a general feeling?
It's a general feeling. I thought it was a good season. Yeah, there are parts that aren't great, but
It's just so clunky. That's the adjective that I come up with. Clunky
And slow.
but then
and disjointed.
I would
Yeah,
go with
disjointed.
disjointed. Clunky.
So it's a rent-a-wreck.
I just think there are parts like building blocks or puzzle pieces
Or-
that when you put them on the board, they don't connect.
Yes, it's a bad game of Tetris.
It's sure there are little gaps in the things and the lines. You didn't place your tiles right. So that's where I'm at, and I didn't have as high of expectations. Like I said, everybody else I think loved the show more than I did.
I was just excited for.
I was excited, but I didn't expect it to be like necessarily to the exact same caliber, but I didn't also expect it to go down so much.
I knew it couldn't be because we
Yes.
knew David Tennant was a bit part at best, so I wasn't expecting it to be
Yeah.
of the same level.
We all knew it'd have a
But I
villain
also-
problem.
But I
We just
wasn't
didn't-
expecting this massive of a fall off.
But rewatch season 1. David Tennant isn't in a lot of the first couple episodes.
But his presence is always there, even when he's not in it. Like you get some sense of.
You had the foreshadowing.
Yeah.
He's a tour de force in it, number one. Number two, you did have Luke Cage as her scene partner a lot of the time as well.
Right, so knowing
And he's
if,
super good.
So you
Despite the
recently
show.
rewatched season 1?
That
Me?
makes me
No.
sad
No.
though, because I don't feel that
'Cause
But I remember
Jessica
I
Jones
only
should
watched-
have to have a male counterpart or conflict to be good, and this season kind of
But
made
she-
it feel like you do.
But you don't. You need her interacting more with Trish in a better written way, or with Hogarth better. But you separated
I know she barely
Hogarth.
interacted with Jerry.
Yeah.
I think that is also part of the problem, is just how they wrote the relationships they did have.
That's true. Really, she spent the most time with Mom or with Oscar. And with the occasional Malcolm and Trish encouraging her to investigate IGH.
Oscar felt
Malcolm
pointless.
saying, get some closure on your family already.
Oscar did feel pointless.
He was super pointless, and while I enjoy,
I didn't have any problem with the
She
actor. I
needed
didn't have any
somebody
problem.
to make her IDs, okay?
that was basically
It was a
the
device.
whole purpose.
But I didn't have a problem with the actor. I didn't have a problem with the acting. I just
I
had a
agree.
problem with the storyline.
And he wasn't bad to look at. I was just like, why should I care about
Yeah,
Oscar?
Spencer, how do you feel about that?
Ambivalent?
I was just adding my extra credit points. But no, I just... Oscar, I felt, was a huge distraction, and every time he came on the screen, I was like, why? Why? And then when the passport thing
Because they
started
needed
happen,
to make
I
a
was like,
sex
oh.
mural.
A sex
They did do
mural.
that.
In yellow paint of all colors.
And purple.
Emperor.
Jessica had purple on her.
Maybe that was symbolic.
Yeah. Well, Oscar's art of her sleeping, that was very throwback to the credits, the opening credits a little bit too, in his style.
And the style of the
Yeah.
first couple issues. Of
Yeah,
the
that's
comics.
gonna
Which was kinda
redeem all
neat.
the other stuff.
It's not, but it's a nice little nod. Thank you.
I mean, sure.
At least, I guess I could say at least there were some highlights, but they were very, very few.
There were few. I say 3
Ah.
episodes. And
There were 3
there were
highlights.
3 highlights.
And even
I
those
still
episodes
wouldn't say
weren't fully good. there were
No.
good parts of each episode that
Right.
were good, but there were still down points in those episodes.
What really, I think, summarizes the season for me is that it lacked tension.
Yes.
If there was any tension at all, they squandered it immediately. I mean, it was just like they didn't sustain it. And that's what I think is more the key difference between this season and season 1. Because season 1 was a never-ending feeling of tension from the moment that Kilgrave first
Tension and
appears.
intrigue and
Yeah.
all of it.
And that's why the psychological thriller aspect worked so well. Whereas without tension here, there was really no reason to get invested. You couldn't sympathize with the players that were creating the tension. You could sympathize with Jessica, but everybody around her was not.
I'm literally like, why are you talking to these people?
Pretty much. Like, you need to just move out of Hell's Kitchen and go find some new people. That's how I feel. But I didn't go in with very high expectations, but I was still disappointed.
And it just feels so strange that off the back of the Defenders, there was no communication with any of the Defenders.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Which it's okay, we're assuming that Matt's still in a coma.
Oh,
and
fine.
Danny may be playing Daredevil for a while, but
But there was just
Luke,
no.
at least.
It was a big event.
Right.
The Defenders was a big event,
Right.
and then it was like completely ignored.
which kind of defeats.
Goes back
I
to the
think.
disjointed thing.
Yeah, very, very disjointed.
And I thought Kristen Ritter was great.
She's always great.
Yeah.
She
Wonderful.
doesn't even act like that in real life. She acts way more like her character on Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, guys.
Yeah, she's super.
She's
Yeah.
super peppy.
Yeah.
No, I thought she was great.
By all
but
accounts, she's super nice. Like if you get to meet her too.
Yeah.
a
She's
real wasted
interacts with her
opportunity.
people on Twitter. I
Yeah.
always thought that's nice.
I will say that they've lost viewers on this season.
They must have.
There's no way anybody that watched it enjoyed, or not anybody,
Did you see the
but
reviews for this season?
They weren't very good.
Oh, so we agreed with the reviewers. Okay, there's the first.
I just don't see how you can maintain the viewership that you won in season 1 after season 2. They're going to see a big drop off for season 3 because there'll be a lot of people that walk away from it.
Yeah.
Especially with the way that TV is now, with the number of offerings. And there's some really good shows out there on Netflix, on Amazon, even on some of the networks. So the idea that you've gone and put out a substandard season 2 and expect to hold your...
It's that sophomore slump.
Yeah, it is a
Yeah.
sophomore slump, which is pretty typical. So I think maybe that is why. So let me segue. Because unless you want to talk about the ending, but there was really no cliffhanger on the ending. Malcolm
No.
quits and goes
So
to work for Jerry.
anticlimactic.
And
Trish,
Price.
And Price. Trish has her little first glimmer of power that may seed her into being Hellcat, and then
She
Jessica
can
decides
catch things that fall.
With her foot.
With her foot. That is true. That's hard to do. And then Jessica decides to play house with Oscar for a while. That's basically the end of the season.
Well, and don't forget, Trish killed Jessica's mom. Did we talk about that?
Oh, we can talk about that moment if you'd like.
No, that's just part of the ending.
It is. I mean, basically what happens is Mom, Elisa, kidnaps Jessica, takes her to an amusement park. Jessica first is reluctant, then she kind of says, okay, Mom, if this is going to help you, I'll go along with it. But while they're having this sort of back and forth about where they should go and, you know, is there really any help for Elisa, Trish shows up, hearing all the police chatter, and shoots Mom dead. And Jessica takes the rap for it. The police consider it self-defense anyway, and Jessica can't forgive Trish. That's basically the sum
Although
total
she
of
did
it.
still seem madder at Malcolm for going behind her back than she was at Trish for killing her mom.
She did.
That seemed weird to me.
I don't know. I didn't have that reaction to it. I think part of her is very complicated with Trish because Trish is ultimately her sister / best friend, and
Like her only family.
her
Yeah.
only family, and she recognizes that. And she sees Malcolm as sort of a potential family friend, but her trust issues are so embedded.
Yeah, she hasn't let him in the circle.
Never.
The
He
small
tries.
circle.
He's trying real hard. Like, come on, dude. I'm here to help. I want to learn from you. I think you're all right.
And then Malcolm, you're fired.
Yeah, and then Malcolm, you're fired. And then he
Pushes
like,
away.
Okay, fine. You know, I'll go work for these people. They'll pay me. And I'll stay clean. So I don't know. It's hard. So to segue, that's the ending. I don't know if you want to talk about that. But they did renew this season. They did renew Jessica Jones for season 3.
Good.
So where can they go? What questions or predictions do you have going forward?
No, I feel like it can only go up from season 2. Can't see it. I can't imagine it could get worse. Honestly, that's how I feel. I just Googled what the viewership was and came up with this headline, which I thought is actually quite appropriate. Jessica Jones season 2 is the perfect example how Netflix bloat is sabotaging its best shows. And I think that it really feels like that with the MCU right now. You're talking about you have to get Iron Fist out, you have to get Luke Cage out, you have to get Punisher out, and then you have to get Daredevil out, all before you can have Jessica Jones again. Your writers aren't going to hang around for 3 years to wait to write this show again. Yeah. So you're never going to get that continuation, and that may be what happened here with season 1 that had
That's
this great core of writers.
On these shows
so
are like different between like each season, because the showrunner moves on and starts creating a different show.
I think they're pushing them too far apart, which is causing them problems.
Well, or they don't have the same level of continuity check that they do for the cinematic universe on the feature side. Because the films don't have this problem. Just saying.
But the films also follow the storylines and the material a little bit better. Like
Also
they are adding things to these Defender characters that sometimes they don't have to. And then other times, I mean, Daredevil is by far the truest and the best, but like with these other ones, you know, they kept saying, or we were hoping that they were going to blend them a little bit better, and maybe that's still coming. But again, the build up to that is really slow. So even if there is that bloat, I mean, it still falls back on the failed writing, because they had all this opportunity with this season and they didn't take it. Plain and simple.
But that 2-year gap that's a big hurdle to get over. Writing teams in TV and film don't hang around waiting to write again. So some of these writers from season 1 have gone off to new and greater things. They won't come back because they've got another job. So then you're putting new writers onto a character that has already established a theme, a flow, and you know, it'd be like taking somebody and having them try and continue on Oliver Twist that isn't Dickens. You're just not going to get that same thematic feel.
I love Spencer's description.
You're just not going to get that same thematic feel. You're not going to get that same flow. The tone change. Yeah.
But I don't think other shows suffer as much, and I think it goes more to the timeline gap than it does to the actual change in writers. I mean, I think that's why you have a showrunner, because the showrunner is ultimately in charge of making sure that managing the tone.
But did season 2 have the same showrunner as season 1?
Yes. Melissa Rosenberg came back. But I don't know that any of the chief writers were the same. The only thing I remember reading of note about season 2 was that every episode had a female director, not
and
the
that
same
was
one.
very intentional on their part.
But other than that, and I don't think the direction was the problem at all, because I think that the actors continued their performances in a way just with the material that they had. And I also think that the pacing and everything was even. It was just very, very slow. So to me, that goes back to writing. It's the writing. And the choices that they take the characters down. That it comes down to writing. So maybe you're right, but I just don't think other shows have that.
Your main villain, anytime you kill the yin or the yang of an equation, you're going to have a problem.
They could have brought him back. I mean, yes. They implied that, I mean, it happened, but I mean, he's like...
He had his dad experimenting on him right before the last
episode. He has superpowers. Like, it already was set up for that. I mean, come on. They could have brought him back. Now, there could have been the scheduling things. But again, wait till he's available or set up. Again, they had the Simpson thing. Yeah. They wasted that. I was so mad.
And he's such an important Marvel character. He has ties to so many other characters, and I liked how they were slowly building
And he was
up.
there for that.
I was very excited for that.
Which now begs the question, because it is a superhero show, and superhero shows do have the habit of resurrecting characters. I mean, I assume Kilgrave is coming back. I think he's got the power to do it, but will Simpson? Or is he
the way they did it is just so unceremonious.
Wasn't there a problem with the actor?
Yeah, I think he has another show now.
He does have another show.
But I thought there was a problem on set with him at some point, and they kind of keen to get rid of him. But I could be wrong on that. There's been a lot of problems on sets with so many actors and stuff lately. Who knows? But
if we're talking about allegations like that, I haven't seen anything attributed to him.
But it's just so unceremonious that it doesn't feel like they plan on doing anything more with him. Like, it felt like he was a loose thread from season 1, so they just got him out of the way real quick.
Well, I agree. I mean, that's definitely how they treated him in the season. It's just, will he remain dead? I guess is the question. And do you think there's any chance of him coming back? I think there's a chance Kilgrave will come back.
At this point, I would prefer the Daredevil writers picked him up. They're better with the villains. I would prefer to see him more in the Daredevil costume world. See him as full on
With King.
With Kingpin. Because in the comics, he's Kingpin's second enforcer after Bullseye.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
That would be so sweet.
So, of course, everybody who listens and everybody on this panel knows that I always listen to the last episode we do in a series. And it was very fun listening to the 2 years ago Jessica Jones. I don't know if you all did that yourselves, but we made a lot of predictions.
Hashtag no time.
Yeah.
I have a long drive to work, so
Fair enough.
we made a lot of predictions, but I didn't even include most of them because none of them really came true. And so I hit on the major ones, and those didn't come true either. So the only one that really came true is Trish's becoming Hellcat.
But not the way that I was hoping.
Right. She's not sympathetic.
I don't.
And just I have no predictions for the next season just because in the
We
comics,
don't know.
her storyline by now she should be
With Luke
like
Cage.
engaged to Luke Cage. They've ran out of comic book storylines, so they're gonna keep doing their own thing if they're gonna keep her separate.
Oh boy.
Don't do
really
that,
think
people.
That bodes well. I think they need to really work on, even if they just have two of them in one. So maybe they have, Danny and Luke over on the one side. And, I mean, Matt and Jessica interact in the comics a lot. Why not have them over on the other side?
I'd be
Because
totally
Matt
fine
doesn't
with it.
need anybody else. Don't mess with that.
He really doesn't.
He
He
need
could
he
just
that.
doesn't.
pop up from time to time.
He could pop up on Jessica Jones, but I don't want her popping up on Daredevil.
You don't want her mucking it up.
No, not mucking it up.
It doesn't
That
make
show
sense.
doesn't need it.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
I feel like Jessica
it's
Jones
strong enough
needs
on its
something
own.
now because this season wasn't strong, whereas season 1 was exceptionally strong. Daredevil, both seasons have been really strong.
Daredevil is by far my favorite, but now I would say that yes, that Punisher is my second favorite.
But they are.
Okay, so we're doing this. Now rank the Marvel segue. Now rank the Marvel properties on Netflix. Don't include after
The
last
Defenders?
time. That everybody was like, I can't rank the Defenders. That's not fair. So don't do it. Just rank Daredevil,
the five.
Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Punisher.
Basically, the 5 characters.
Yeah, I know
You're
what I'm
forcing us
saying.
to average season 1 and season 2 of Jessica Jones together.
That's right.
Daredevil, obviously, number 1. Right now, number 2 is Punisher. Right now, Jessica Jones and Iron Fist are kind of tied because, of course, because you and I are instantly
Related.
equal, because her seasons average out to about where I was at with Iron Fist, even though I like the character of Danny Rand. I just hope they do more with him as Iron Fist in the future still, and then still Luke Cage, but I haven't started watching the second season.
Yeah, and I'll go with, obviously, Jessica Jones is still number 1 for me. Daredevil is number 2. Punisher is number 3. Iron Fist, and then Luke Cage is last. Again, I also have not seen...
If you just take your love for Jessica Jones out of it, and I get that too.
I still,
Where would you put it?
thematically, I still like... Yeah, she's my favorite
I get it. I mean,
Marvel
I get it.
superhero, but I'm not talking as if she is my favorite, because if it wasn't as good, I would rank her lower. But I liked the style of the show a lot. I just liked
Okay,
the
fair enough.
overall package. It was very appealing to me.
I think my ranking is the same as Hilary. Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones tied with Iron Fist.
See, mine's almost the same, but I'd put Iron Fist above Jessica Jones. I have more of a connection with that character.
I'm with Kyle.
I just liked season 1 so much.
I think
just
Punisher's season was better than Iron Fist, but I like Iron Fist as a character
Character.
better.
I just want them, I just hope they get to have more, because I was hoping for more development in Defenders with Iron Fist, and that still hasn't happened, so I guess I was still kind of putting a little bit of that storyline into my ranking, but I just hope he gets to actually be more full-fledged.
Well, I mean, it
Iron
ended
Fist.
it with him picking up Daredevil's responsibilities, so I feel like that's building up on
Okay,
him.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. I mean,
I'd
I'd
say-
think of it.
Daredevil is the best because it's just, that's solid.
I mean, it's the core from which all these other characters came from. It has the most history to draw from, so it's very easier for that to be more...
And yes, there's 2 seasons that were both really well done.
With really good villains, and there are more villains to come. Punisher was a very good first season for Punisher. He's a hard character for people like me, but it was such a well-written season that it was just so good. And then Iron
I
Fist.
still liked that crescendo feel of that season. That's
Yeah.
all I was going to say. It was such a good build.
That was nice.
Then Iron Fist, just because I like a little mystical stuff to my superheroes. So I was like, yay, but he is kind of whiny, but that's okay. I think it'll get better. He's just going to be a Jedi soon. I know
But
it.
he's the immortal Iron
He
Fist.
just
I
needs
know.
they do need to have him not say that as much.
Right.
Because it kind of discredits him. But yeah.
And then Jessica
Well,
Jones. I want to I love the character of Jessica. I've always loved the character of Jessica. I relate to the character of Jessica in many ways, but I can't, man.
Can't get behind that.
Can't get behind this anymore. What, relating to her?
No, I just meant in general.
Oh, and then Luke Cage. But I haven't seen the second season yet either, and I'm hoping for
Good things.
at least better things in season 1.
They can only go up from here.
Right.
Or they could
Remain the
plateau.
same.
They could plateau, but
Yeah, they may have plateaued. already. So for me, it's Punisher number 1.
Whoa.
Just that first season was
He loves
so good.
What?
Daredevil number 2, but very close second. It would have been Jessica Jones 3 until season 2, and that just really dropped it off. So it's Iron Fist, then Jessica Jones, and still way at the bottom is Luke Cage. That
It's
was
a
that was
gorgeous,
worse than a
gorgeous
dumpster
shot
fire.
show.
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
yeah. Cinemagraphically, it was
Brilliantly
one of the better shows.
acted.
But
Very good acting.
the stories were just so flat, so
That was poor directing.
boring, so slow.
Very generic.
I didn't care about any of the villains.
No.
Yeah, we just went on that rant again a little bit.
But we don't know what season 2 will bring. Yay! Nobody's yaying.
I will
I was
definitely
trying-
be. I watched it because I was told I had to for
Yeah.
Luke Cage season 2.
Well, that's okay. We'll be doing the DC ones before we come to Luke Cage, so that doesn't seem to bring up the house very much. Guys!
Just
Smallville.
finished Arrow.
I'm gonna advocate. You guys, did you watch Smallville? You would
Watched.
like it. Did you watch Smallville?
no.
You would really like
You
it.
would
Yeah,
like
well.
it. If
That's what I've been told.
just saying, even if you're not a big Superman
I would
fan,
actually say it's better than any of these shows that we talk about currently.
Really?
I actually 100% agree with
I
you.
would put Smallville higher, yeah. But we'll see where Daredevil ends. Daredevil for me is very...
They're two
Very,
different,
very
very
good.
different tones.
Oh, yeah,
So
tones
I
completely
can't.
different.
I would put them on even planes, but they're very different tones. Way different. So
Yeah, Smallville I saw advertisements for when it was coming out, and I was like, oh, I'm watching that, because, I'm about as obsessed as Spencer is with the Superman, and I watched it all 10
Michael
years.
Rosenbaum
Yeah.
and Clark Kent, who are
Tom Welling.
Tom
Tom
Welling
Welling.
want to do an animated version of Smallville.
Come back! Yes!
Tom Welling just needed a break because
Tom's
after
from Okemos.
he is,
and he
after
will be back on Lucifer on Netflix.
yes,
Which we're all very excited
Well done,
about.
Netflix. Sponsor us.
Right?
After we just
say
crashed
things.
2 of their shows.
That's part of the gig, Kyle.
They know that everything they have isn't roses.
They have
they
to.
just churn it out. I mean,
Right.
And that's their problem right now, is they're trying to churn out too much.
They used to not just turn it out.
that's true.
They
But the
just-
demand is there.
It's
That's the
quality
problem.
over
People
quantity.
want new stuff all the time. And
Yeah, because of binge watching now. They're
Well,
done
they're-
so quickly with the whole season, then
I
they're like,
can
what
wait.
other season
What's
can
next?
I watch? Yeah.
What's
I can
next?
wait
I can wait. I
because
think
I
they're-
can rewatch stuff.
I think
that
they're worried though that a lot of other people can't, and now with like Amazon and like all these other things jumping on the the making shows thing on the
YouTube.
side.
YouTube
Exactly.
Red now has shows, and
The
I hear
Cobra
Cobra
Kai
Kai is
thing.
phenomenal.
Okay.
And I still plan to watch it. I mean, I grew up on the Karate Kid movies thanks to our brother. I'm just like, it's just
That
He was
Cobra Kai
super-
show is on Rotten Tomatoes is the highest rated TV show
So-
ever.
I've watched the first 2 episodes. They are phenomenal.
Really?
I am going to get the...
100
Once I'm done with
100%.
the play I'm working on, I'm going to sign up for the
I mean-
30-day free trial just to watch Cobra Kai.
So we literally just went to Comic-Con. Now, usually the people from the Karate Kid movies have been coming... I mean, they come fairly recently because there's still a big love for all those 80s movies. But the moment... What's his name who plays Johnny Lawrence?
William Zabka.
He walked in and like people
Standing ovation.
freaking cheered in the... Because usually that happens with some of the
Sweep
big guests.
flag.
Like when Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum walked in, everybody cheered because they were together and they were walking in. But like literally, they've already been doing conventions consistently. But this is the first time when I see him walk that people are like screaming excited. And new generations too. There's a lot of young people waiting in his line. So
People I know who are very critical that have seen this have said it's some of the best written continuation of any property they've ever watched.
basically Netflix has a lot of a lot of other competition now. I think maybe they're...
But producing more doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
Producing better.
Well, you tell them that.
And
Well, I think they're going to go through. I think they're just getting quicker to some of the reevaluation that the major networks are going through right now. I think the major networks are finally starting to realize that they can't just churn.
Right.
They have to do quality. The entertainment complex is so bloated, and now they're starting to be, Roseanne aside, percolations of things that, and revivals aside, that people are watching again on the networks. Like
Yeah.
The Good Place is very, very well reviewed, and I highly recommend it. We did it on a podcast. It was effusive 5 stars everywhere because it's so smart and it's so funny. And that's NBC. So they're coming back around.
They are coming back around.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen.
have to
For me,
compete.
Netflix's biggest problem is that you binge watch a show in 2 weeks and then you have to wait 2 years for the next season.
That's also true.
That is
Yeah.
a massive problem. The attention span.
But I think
in
they're
this day
already
and age is
addressing
not good.
that.
They are some
Unbreakable is now Kimmy Schmidt. They're doing in two
two
chunks.
parts.
And some come by week.
Some do
Yeah.
come by week now. That's becoming more common.
But
I
in
don't
the
I know.
MCU, we are waiting 2 years almost on every
Tangled
one of
web
these
we
shows,
weave.
and that's a problem.
It is a problem. Especially if it is like you say and the writers can't remember what they're supposed to be doing
Or
from
they've
season
changed
to
changed
season.
staff completely.
Yeah.
Maybe they could go back and rewatch it.
Listen to our podcast.
Right.
I know, we do a fairly good job recapping, I think. Which is the point.
Toot toot.
Hey, we're excellent. Don't you forget it.
Brilliant, as Spencer says.
Yes.
So on that lovely note, is there anything else you want to say about season 2 of Jessica Jones, or what you hope or hope not to see in season 3?
Well, Kristen and I both agree it was very solid. We just have different definitions of
What
the word
solid
solid.
is.
Well, that's nice of you.
Well, at least we agree on something. But no, I
Is
thought
that
I
what
really
was burning in the dumpster gift that you sent out?
My little thing.
see. The funny thing is that one actually never showed up in my chat, so it was just this
Me
gray
either.
square,
Oh.
and I could not see what it was. So I'm just like,
It was
I
a-
know it's something
it was
saucy,
a-
so shut up, Spencer.
It was a big blue dumpster on fire.
I figured something along those lines because you're pretty snarky in our group chats. So
He's
Just in
snarky
the
all
group
the
chat.
time.
That was kind.
yeah, snarky. No, I liked season 2. Not as strong as season 1. I like season 2.
I don't think they could have gone as strong as season one.
It
Season
would have been
one
very
was
hard to.
fantastic.
It would have been very hard to keep it on par with season 1 or exceed it at this point. So I think, Nick said some good things about season 2. It seems like it's kind of ramping up towards something in season 3. You kind of said that
He's
earlier
hoping.
a little bit.
Yeah.
I hope so. So I hope season 3 continues on that trajectory and gets.
It felt like all of season 2 was building towards
Something.
something good eventually, instead of actually getting to it in season.
Yeah, but I am surprised they didn't mention anything about Defenders. Really, I mean
They
that
were just a little missteps.
lost opportunity to keep the continuity as a whole.
I
going.
just hope they bring Luke Cage back in for season 3. It doesn't need to be a lot. It could be like in the first season where he shows up for a scene here or there, or like a couple episodes in the middle. But he's just so important to her world.
She doesn't need a man, but I like their chemistry. Their chemistry is so good.
I feel
Yeah.
like if I was talking to somebody about Jessica Jones, I would tell them to watch season 1, and then I would tell them to wait for season 3.
I don't
Because season
think they
2
missed
kind of
anything.
spoiled the show for me.
It certainly, I don't know if it completely spoiled it, but it definitely, for me, it A, validated a concern, and B, brought it down.
I mean, if you
So-
took season 2 out, she is essentially in the same place she was at the end of season
Yep.
1.
Yep.
Like you wouldn't even
100%.
I'll agree
just
with
think
that.
about it. Like I'm thinking, other than Malcolm working for a different company, you wouldn't have missed much.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like buying a brand new car and then waxing it with sandpaper. That's what they did.
You just mixed metaphor Karate Kid things.
Boom!
Oh my gosh.
Awesome!
He should have a gin and tonic more often.
I agree with that sentiment.
You are being kind of relaxed in your snarkiness.
Smooth stuff.
TM. Anything else you want to say about season 2 or season 3, what you hope to see?
I just want it to be better.
Anything
Established.
else I said?
No.
Okay. Are you going to keep watching?
I have
Reluctantly.
to.
Yes, I'm going to keep watching, Kylie. I love this show. I will watch it and watch it and watch it until it's done.
Kristen will be the last one.
She
to
just suddenly
say
became
it.
Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Lenny, it might as well be me.
I applaud.
Why does anyone have to
You
feel
like-
I need sleep, guys. It's fine.
Would you recommend Jessica Jones?
Season
Spencer
1.
already said it, but the
I would
rest
not
of you
recommend
recommend
season
it?
2. No.
Season 2, I mean, only if you love the first season.
But we.
I mean,
Oh, it spoils the first season.
I was just gonna say, no, I don't feel like there's anything that even really connects it all that much. I mean, you could just read like a little like synopsis on like a article and be done with it. It has no connectivity. It doesn't really add. I mean, yeah, you can say, oh, backstory development, but really, it was not that much and really not good. So just read a little synopsis and you're good.
Give a
Trish
synopsis
would
of
be-
season 1, and at the end, just add the sentence, and Malcolm goes and works for Hogarth.
Also, Trish has powers from doing drugs.
I mean,
Yeah.
she stole Nuke's drugs in
That's a-
season 1, though. You could have just assumed she got them from Nuke's drugs.
Oh, yeah. Alright, don't watch season 2.
Okay. Since they've added, we now do the sum, and the sum is this. CPU is produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, would you take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play? We would really love to see some stars, comments, reviews, good or bad. We just need to know how we're doing and how you are doing. Tell us. We like to talk to people. If you have suggestions, and to each other, obviously. If you have suggestions on shows we might consider, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, via email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or via Facebook and Twitter. Though, of course, we add new and old shows to chat about around Water Cooler all the time. Our intro lists several. In fact, we have several more new episodes coming down the pike, as the intro also said. And if you miss old episodes or want to know in general what we cover, just find us on Google's. We top our searches. Couch Potatoes Unite! ! It's a thing of beauty. Subscribe to our website or channels or social media and stay up on new events and episodes. Until the next time, Jessica Jones is only available on Netflix because that is the network who made it. And as Spencer said earlier, who should give us free subscriptions for saying so. In the meantime, our Marvel's Defender series panel will next reconvene shortly, hopefully, but shortly is a relative term, to discuss season 2 of Luke Cage, which was released to Netflix on June 22nd, 2018. So until next time, until next episode, new episodes are published every Wednesday. Keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned!